Well, call the meeting to order. We'll have a roll call.
Ken Meyer.
Here.
Bill Carbox absent. John Schultz.
I'm here. So we do have a quorum. Minutes of the October 6th meeting. Your email. Kenny, you got any questions or
Nope,
additions?
I read them and I'd like to approve them if possible.
I'll second that. So the minutes are approved. Nate's not here yet, is he? Roger, maybe you could update us on how the Plan Commission meeting went.
For tonight?
Yeah.
Real good. They give it a final on that parking lot area that Fleetwood AIG is proposing, the east of their building. That's pretty well all we went through that, and that we just went over with Brett Miller on the final drawing for Lake Shores 8, what we need to do for signature lines and things like that.
Okay. Well, good.
Is Lake Shores 8, is that the part that's clear to the back, is it, or what?
Huh? On that.
Which part's Lake Shores 8?
Oh, that's that new little section just off of East Monroe Street. Down
Right.
Ron Story.
Oh,
Ron
right.
Story's, just past Ron
Just
Story's.
past Ron Story, there'll be a cul-de-sac.
Real short little cul-de-sac.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep, I know what you mean.
Yeah, they put the cul-de-sac in already, right?
Right.
Yeah, well,
We
good.
just did the plot, finished final drawings on it, got all the signatures.
Has he left for California yet?
Well, he called Brown when he's leaving. He must be going to be close, because he wanted to try to get it done before he left, get it signed.
He does that every year. You know, well, I got to hurry and get this done before I go to California. Yeah, you had 8 months to get it done and never did a thing.
Every time.
Yeah.
He's consistent.
Yeah.
Now, while you're-
Eighth piece.
That's a nice addition, don't get me wrong. He does a nice addition.
While you're standing right here,
Shit, what'd I do?
You got to answer it.
Oh, it went dead, so I guess we're all right.
anything new on our guy turning in any plans down in 10th?
Yeah, we did. We went and saw him last week, Roger and I. I thought maybe I'd go along and put a little pressure on him just because I happen to be the mayor, and I think we did get his attention finally. So he was going to schedule what hearing is that? The BZA Board of Zoning Appeals hearing.
Well, that's what Tim told us to run it through.
Yeah. So he was going to do it on the 3rd. What didn't work out? It's the 17th now, right?
No, hell, we had him scheduled for the 4th, November the 4th, because we didn't have that survey yet. And now,
Wimhoff's going to have the survey.
We don't have none. Like Kitson and about 3 of our BZA members are gone that
And
week on the 3rd, so it won't be till the 17th,
Of November.
So there is a
He
hearing
just keeps
finally.
buying more time.
Oh, you know, he didn't even know who I was when I said Roger was talking to him, and finally he says something. He says, "Well, you look familiar." I said, "Yeah, I'm John Schultz. I'm the mayor of Decatur." And he, "Oh, I knew you looked familiar." Like, hey, we're going to do something. They are. I got to say, they're very nice people.
They're nice enough.
They are.
They're just
I just not very
They just
smart.
don't get it.
They're just not very smart.
I don't think, and this property's in his mom's name. I never got, she can't figure it right. I mean, and
Yeah, I don't. So anyhow, they have a meeting scheduled for 17th. It's a month later than I wanted. I wanted it like tonight, you know, but it's not going to work. So
Yeah, so you can turn back on.
I had that on the agenda. So, yeah, they are going to have something. So I don't know how he thinks this is going to work. He's in a residential area. He's wanting to do a business in a residential area. I just don't see where the Board of Zoning Appeals is going to give him approval to do it.
Yeah. And, yeah, I don't know.
And I don't care if it's just the fact that they aren't very intelligent, in fairness to the neighbors. It's
He told us a story that kind of got my attention though, about her. You know, he went over and helped her do something.
He does all the time. He lives over there helping if she wants
And 15 minutes later, she's giving him hell. You know, I mean, he went out of his way to do something for an hour, and then, boom, 15 minutes later, she's. I don't know.
two sides to every story.
Yeah. So,
And, did I ask him about, and we went down there and they were in there working and the door was closed. We didn't think nobody was around. But he didn't, he said, no, when we work out here, so I've been keeping the door closed. And many things you can't do. I asked him, well, you get guys hanging around down here fast, you know, when they leave, they're up and down the street fast. And he goes, no, he says, ain't me. He says, it's the guys across the street.
Which means who's your pattern as workers?
And I asked Taylor works over there, I said, do those guys race pretty hard when they leave? And he goes, yeah. He says, they only get a half an hour for lunch. When it's 11:30, he said, they're on the parking lot. They better fly down that street, he said, they got to get the food, get back, so they got 10 minutes to eat. He said, yeah, they go fast, he said. So, I don't know, it's like you said, it just... And I keep telling him they just don't know how to clean up. I told him time.
That's the thing, it's not what he's doing inside.
Again, I said, Mark, you're your own worst enemy if you just believe this shit.
Yeah, and I even interjected and says, you know, I says, you're coming from the BZA. I don't know what they're going to do, but you're going to be restricted. You're not going to be working here at 7, 8 o'clock at night. You're not going to be able to come here at midnight. You're not going to work here at 2 in the morning. You're going to have restricted hours if they pass it at all. So, yeah. And you got to keep things clean. Otherwise, they're not going to allow you to let junk laying around here. I mean, you can put all the covers you want on that vehicle. It's still inoperable. I don't care if you cover it up, it's still inoperable.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a tough night.
You know, I went down there with the intent of being a hard ass and really getting tough with them and everything. And I did. Well, I was forceful with them, but they're just not very intelligent. They're nice enough, but they just don't get it.
They don't get it. And I told him I've been half a dozen times. I said, this is pretty severe. You better take this serious. Oh, on the other side of me. It doesn't make no difference. So, well, anyways, that's the update on that.
All right.
Greg, I didn't tell you about this, but you and Mike, while you were gone, Mike had a thing he had to look into about cats. What is our animal control for cats? There's nothing on cats? Is there anything on animals, period?
Just dogs running the
Dogs.
streets.
So,
And we still had the thing, I think we still have the thing in there on raising chickens, that type of thing. That's in there.
foul.
But other than that, no, we do not do finding cats or...
Well, we have a lady down at Park Place, and, you know, the neighbor's cat comes over and dabbles into the yard, you know, and she doesn't like that. You just ask your neighbor not to let your cat... I have tried that.
Well,
You can't.
Can we trap them?
Yep, that's what I look at.
That's how I do too, Frank. I'm glad you said that.
Especially if it's a nuisance. So if it's not a nuisance...
Well, you know what Chad Springer told us? It's okay, we'll trap it, and then
Yes,
we'll give it back to the owner, who was right there. I'd say trap it, take it to the animal shelter, make that person
Come get it.
go get it.
That's fine.
Can we do that? Let's do
I
it.
would say no.
Why?
No, because we don't have an ordinance to enforce.
Tim's not here tonight.
Yeah, well...
No, somebody's not taking care of their animals, you know.
Well, you're correct, but we need to establish something to, whether it's all animals, whether it's any vertebrate, whether it's however you want to phrase it.
I don't know, I'd like to, can you check on some other communities and see what they do for animal control? I feel sorry for this lady, she's not done anything wrong.
Well, an
About
animal
like
control
animals
or
again,
cats
you know?
or just any animal.
Any animals, yeah.
Most places have their animal control, but...
Well, I think I want to tell Chad, he's the one that comes out and traps these. Take it, trap it, take it down to Charlie Bauer's place, and if the person wants it, they gotta go down and get it.
See, there again, too, if you're going to have those kind of relationships with the animal control officer, is he going to take it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what he told the lady. He says, yeah, I'll trap it, then I'll give it back to the person who owns it. Well, why trap it,
Exactly.
you know?
There's no consequence for what they're doing. Okay, trap it, bring it back, trap it, bring it back, trap it, bring it back. So unless there's a fee established or any kind, like I said, any kind of vertebrate, you know, there's cruelty to animals, but that's, trapping isn't, if the animal's a nuisance, that's not really...
So, what do you think?
Well, I think, yeah, trapping it and giving it right back to them's not going to help anything.
Unless we can establish, the basis is going to be an ordinance. I just think
Yeah.
that's the way it's going to have to be.
Long term, that's probably what we need.
But whether it's, you might be,
Write that down, Philip.
you might be able to define
Animal control ordinance.
Well,
any
let's look-
vertebrate that is considered a pet of an individual that runs at large.
Yeah,
something along
let's
those
look
lines.
at
So that
other
way,
communities.
That skunk, it could be,
No,
At
yeah.
American Legal, if you go out there, it shows all the community code books, and you can just
Where?
look on American Legal. That's
American
where our
Legal,
code book is now.
they're the ones that updated our code book.
Every other community's out there, and you can just click on their animal control and just see what they have. And then we can tell them, because
yeah,
you're going to do...
AmericanLegal.com.
Phyllis has got their
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, because they're going to do our first supplement here before too long, because I've been sending all the updates since then, since we have it on there now.
That brings up another subject, Phyllis. They're updating that. What's the cost to update that annually?
I would have to look that again.
Oh, but they did quote it?
Yes.
Okay,
they did.
well, that's good then, as long as we know ahead of time. Yeah.
While I'm up here, I'll let you know that Teddy Bessa simply goes down the 28th, down for his physical and psychological.
Goes when?
On the
The
when?
28th. next
Of
Wednesday.
this month?
Yeah.
Is he working now?
No. We can't allow him to work until FERC accepts it.
And so he goes down on the 28th. How long does it take them to?
They will send us a reply within 7 to 10 days, and then we have to, he's got a little bit more paperwork to do, and then that has to go to the FERC board, and they only meet a couple times a month.
Man.
So, it just takes forever.
You're lucky to have him working by Thanksgiving.
Yeah, yeah. If we're, yeah, that's,
So is he still working out at,
yeah.
what's he?
Blue Flame or whatever
I
it's
got
called.
Blue Flame right.
Hi, Tommy.
I can't get out of Fleetwood yet. I can't get down Allied.
Yeah, me too. I still call it
Yeah.
Fleetwood.
I don't even know, what is it called now?
Allied.
Allied Recreation Group, ARG.
Oh, yeah, Fleetwood, yeah. I meant
Oh, this out here is it Hoosier?
Blue Flame, I always
Place,
call
or-
it.
Yeah.
Hoosier?
Is it
Okay.
Hoosier? That's not Hoosier?
That's not Hoosier. Hoosier's out.
Out west, out by Falcon?
I forget. But I'll check in and get it.
Okay. If you could, make a note of that, and I'll look at stuff up and see. Hey, Nate, you had a quote that you need us to look at? Nate's got one of those situations where our purchasing ordinance requires different quotes.
We asked for different pricing and quotes. This is for professional service. This is actually for cleaning out part of our stormwater quality units we have.
I have no idea what a stormwater quality unit is.
Essentially what that is the stormwater before it enters the river. If it's on here. There we go. Before the stormwater leaves our system and enters the river, it goes through a stormwater separator. It collects the debris, trash, and sediment that would get into our storm sewers. Before it discharges to the river, it collects that. Well, after a while, it needs cleaned like a vacuum cleaner bag would need changed, so we have to hire someone to do that because of the depth of two of the units there on First Street. The large parking lot, we have two of those units that are about 25, 26 feet deep.
Where are they? This,
We
parking
have
lot,
two in the First
close
Street
to
parking
Macklin.
lot. First in the First Street parking lot next to Macklin's. There's one just southeast of Joe Stanley's place, and then there's one on Monroe Street just south of the main lift station. So those are the 4 units and 3 sides.
Monroe Street?
I'm sorry, Monmouth
Road?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I know you
Monmouth
meant.
Road next to the main lift station there. So,
Okay. So these are, before stormwater goes into the river, they go through this?
They go
All
through some
stormwater
sort of-
goes through this?
in those watersheds. We don't have them everywhere, but they were added in with different projects over the years. When we did the CSO project, for whatever reason they were put in. I'm not sure. I can't say exactly
Well,
why.
I mean, it makes sense to collect all the debris before it gets, you don't want
Like
it
our
running in
trash
the river.
before it leaves, and so that keeps us from doing it at different locations. It also keeps us from asking
How often does that have to
developers
be
for them.
done?
We've scheduled it for once a year. So I try to make sure that I put something into our schedule, so I clean them out every year. I think when I started, they hadn't been cleaned for about 2 or 3 years before I started, so
Well, the lid on the one down here was broken.
Yeah, so we had problems with it, so we replaced the lid on the Monroe Street one. That diversion chamber lid, the aluminum lid was broken, essentially failing for us.
So, you was able to get one quote,
I was able to
couldn't
get
the
one
second
quote, the other ones were not
You have to have board
responsive.
approval to proceed, so.
So, and it's not much, it's just
Was
above the
this the
limit.
firm that cleaned out the Interceptor?
They did the Interceptor work for us.
Yeah,
as
I
well,
remember
so-
that, I just recognized the name.
Yep. So,
And this price is to do all of them?
Just to do all four.
Okay.
What we do is we do all four because it's enough that they can do it in one day. So otherwise I'm going to pay about the same amount for them to do one. We just have them do all four because then they can clean them all out and I don't have to use other city equipment to try to get to those. So
I make a motion to approve the request.
I'll second that.
You need these back, Nate?
I've got copies, so.
Do you need this, Phyllis?
I'll go
You need to give Phyllis a signed.
Okay.
One, okay.
Well, do you want me to go ahead and sign this then?
You want me to sign it?
You can sign it.
All right, I'll sign it right now, and then folks will have it.
After the meeting or tomorrow.
We don't have a PO number, do we?
We don't use the purchase
You
order
want to
numbers.
sign mine and his, and you can give one to him and I'll keep one. That sounds fair.
Multiple copies, so. They are willing to honor the 30-day, the price, even though it's beyond their 30 days. They just asked for additional time to complete the work, which I said would be fine. So that's the only, since this was something from September 8th quote. So that won't affect us significantly, so.
John's just going to sign too. You can have one. I'll keep one.
I'll do that, and I'll scan it and send them a copy over, so thank you very much. It gets it going.
Yeah, yeah. We'll do that pretty soon?
Actually, it'll probably be right around the end of December, is what they got a big project since they give us this quote, and so they're gonna shuffle us the back. It's 1 day worth of work, so we're kind of filling, which is fine. The price reflects that.
Do you want me to sign the third one or not? All right?
No, that's fine.
All right.
I'll just take one copy and we're good.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
You can have that one. Thanks, Nate. Yeah, Nate had given us a letter that basically accepts what we call the Baker Sewer Extension Project. This is Matt Baker's house
Yeah.
that they brought into our sewer, so
Yeah.
we need to just make it a matter of record, so.
So moved.
Second. Yeah, that's good. You need this back?
No,
You do? You
that's
need
our
it?
copy for it, so I sent him a letter in the mail on Friday, so he's notified, so he's outside his warranty period, so it's our force main now, so any new connections will come.
Did his
before us.
dad tie in?
Yes, so they should both
So
be
Terry's
connected.
into our sewer now. You know, make sure that Dan's office gets that, because they can start sending them a bill.
Oh, well, they should have had a bill for last year,
Okay,
so they've been connected for that long now, so,
good.
yep. I should copy the health department, make sure they know all about that too, so I'll follow up with Terry Smith as well. All right.
You want to approve the
Yeah.
boiler machine?
We got a couple quotes on boilers for the Riverside Center. Boilers went bad. Looks like 10,100 from Baker's and $8,960 from Masters. I would
Masters is
make a
cheaper.
motion to go with Masters.
Second.
Should I just sign this, Phyllis?
Thankfully, I could do that one for my time.
Cam,
Got it.
did you get my emails? Email? Okay. You gonna be around Saturday? Anytime, it sounded like. Okay.
Jeremy's got to sign stuff.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Stickies on there.
Double, oh, thank you.
We have a public hearing that was advertised for 7 o'clock, so we'll wait till 7 o'clock and close this meeting, open a public hearing. Melissa just got it wrong and didn't realize. I thought it's no big deal. We'll have the public hearing at 7 or after. I did talk with the janitor concerning the salary, and it was a good discussion because I don't think Jim ever had an opportunity to see what time it was taking to actually do the work since he started in January. So what I'm proposing is really, it comes out to right at $2,000 annually less than what is currently going on. So I would adjust it accordingly, but it's instead of $29,982, $27,974.
Say it again, 27 what?
$27,974. That's annual rate. One thing that I never realized was that the police department, which is new to everybody, we've never had that before, is that instead of 5 days a week, it takes 6 days a week. So you're there an extra day just because there's somebody in and out of there all day, every day. So if you let it go Saturday, Sunday, it's a mess on Monday. So we really do need to be there on at least one of those days, Saturday or Sunday. So if that's okay with everybody, we have the salary ordinance coming up at the city council meeting. We can make those adjustments, unless you got some other questions on it. On the salary ordinance, I don't know if you got your copies in front of you. The City Hall janitor would go from $984.17 to $784.17 to $731.63. And for the janitorial at the police department, to go from $369.02 to $344.30. I go too fast?
Yep.
Okay. Which one?
Both of them.
Okay. City Hall, it'd go from $784.17 to $731.63. Police Department, it'd go from $369.02 to $344.30.
Okay, so how did we arrive at these figures? And
Well, we detailed how many hours. We never really had that before.
okay, so approximately what's he making an hour?
About $19. That's the adjusted number.
How many hours a day is he working?
Well, about 5 hours a day. 5 hours a day. It comes out to 1,456 hours a year. That's how I kind of calculated it. So it's 5 hours a day, or a week, excuse me.
A day.
A day, excuse
Plus
me,
Saturday.
a day, plus a Saturday of 3 hours. So it's really 28 hours a week.
Did we go over like what it is that he does that takes that long?
It's just general cleaning. It's not repairs. Otherwise, he doesn't do the light bulbs.
Yeah, he did.
He does do light bulbs. Excuse me, I didn't know.
Sorry.
Yeah. How is it? Is it working okay for you guys? The cleaning? Not in your way ever. Because we don't want him to be an obstacle.
I've expressed sometimes that, I wouldn't mind seeing it like maybe after business hours, but generally he does it, but once in a while, kind of appears a little bit. But other than that, it's nothing we can't work out.
Okay.
Do you know what all he does at your office each day?
Not each day, no, because I'm not there all day long. I mean, I've seen him do everything.
What is everything?
You know,
It's like cleaning the
give me some
floors,
things he does.
vacuums the floors, he cleans the restrooms, he
Cleans the restrooms,
Dust.
mops, he dusts, empties the tray, just there, straightens up in general. Doesn't touch any of the desks or anything like that. And quite honestly, if you ask him to do something, he'd like to do it. He's always been really good about that. But as far as specific tasks that I want him to do every day, and I just want, I believe, we've talked before, I just expect it to be looking clean, and, if there's something else that I want him to do, he said, let him know.
I don't know if I clarified much or not, but it's,
I mean, what you were giving us was different from 2%.
right,
Okay.
right.
Is there any way that it can be tracked like you do for the meeting, Melissa?
Yeah, I said something to Jim about that, saying, hey, you need to submit a card, because I approved Nate's, I approved Melissa's, I approved Beth Hyman, the parking control, so I should be approving Jim's also, yes.
I mean, I know it's not gonna happen today or tomorrow, but that way you have a better aspect of what times I'm gonna do it.
And I'll be honest,
Because right now-
I did not realize that I was in charge of it. I mean, it was just something I inherited from the other mayor, and I didn't know I was supposed to be in charge of him, so at least I know it now.
You know, I'm assuming there's a job description somewhere.
Well, no, there's no job descriptions for any employee anymore. They're all outdated from 93.
From 1993? We don't have any job descriptions on anybody?
That's the last time we did it, 93. I did one for Wendy when she worked here. I created my own for her.
So there's no job description for Melissa?
No.
Oh, my. I thought we had job descriptions for everybody, to be honest with you. What did that, what was his
We
name?
have them, but they're
Ripley?
old from 93.
There was a Ripley, it was here, and he helped us with our, remember, what was his first name? I can't remember his first name. Mitch Ripley. Mitch Ripley. What did he do for us? Policy manual. So he went through the policy manual, updated that, but we didn't do anything on job descriptions.
I think that seems like it'd be, I know it's a daunting task, but that's fun to do, but I think we could sit with the department heads and do that.
On our own? If we got an old one to go by, you know, even though it's outdated, it kind of gives us a guideline to,
We have copies of the old ones?
we still got
Yeah,
the
I
old
still
one?
have them on file.
Yeah, I think it should be, definitely updated. And like you said, it can be something where we just sit and go over it with each department head, what's valid, what isn't valid, what needs changed, and let's get it done, because,
Yeah.
Just like Roger, we just have a conversation. What is it that you say you do here? He told us all that he didn't do, so we were asking him.
Jokingly, he was,
Yeah.
Crone asked him a question, he said, damn it, that's not my department, you know.
So I think it's...
Yeah, I think it's, I thought we had those, but I guess we don't.
Well, and they probably need to be reviewed. Obviously, I mean, look at Jeremy Dan's responsibilities.
Yeah, they've changed. Yeah. Then Melissa, and when she came aboard, Nate, you know,
Because with the transition of leadership, there's going to be a question of what is it that you think you do? What is it that I think you do?
okay, well, let's look into that and see what we can get done. So do we have any other questions on the salary ordinance? Because it's up for third reading. We don't have to do that tonight, but it should be done pretty quick.
We have to do it tonight.
We have to do it? Why?
Unless you have a special meeting, because that has to be adopted before November 1st.
Oh, it does? No, we're having a special meeting on the 27th, so.
We can add it to the agenda. Get it done.
I don't, I mean, well, at this point, what are we...
I mean, all the salary ordinance says is that this is the max for these positions.
Yeah, it
It
says
doesn't
no
have the
more
right
than,
names in
so.
it, and it says more than, so you could pick any salary or any, whatever you want to pay employee. That's why the salary ordinance is so good. It gives flexibility.
Turn this into the state, that was going on into this.
salary ordinance? No, it's just
It's
required.
just guidelines
Have
from the
to
state that
have
says
a-
we have to have it by November 1st.
Yeah, salary ordinances have to be adopted for all the employees by November 1st, elected officials by December 31st. But I don't think we're changing elected official salary ordinance, right?
No.
At least nobody told me to.
No.
So basically, that salary in particular is open-ended,
All of
in
them.
the fact that it can't be more than.
Right.
So if we pass it tonight, it doesn't cause us any problem.
It shouldn't.
We
If
adjust
we
it.
decide later that it's going to be less,
Yeah, because we're not
it's
going to
still not more.
We're not going to change it to 2015 at all.
Right. So it's 2016 we're looking at. So I'll bring it up to City Council. If you have some questions, we can address them at that time. Interesting meeting last night I attended in Geneva. Geneva was represented there, Decatur, Bern, Monroe, and Adams County. They're being very concerned about manure from Amish horses. This is getting to be a big issue.
Good deal.
You know that?
On the
they really
street.
are. So,
Well, I
you
think
know, on
that
the
guy out
street.
picking it up, putting it in a box and taking it for his garden. Ask him, so what are you doing?
That's a rare exception there, Bill.
Is that Steve Johnson?
Steve Johnson, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Rides a little scooter around. And
Yeah, he was over there by
he always goes
Geneva
out.
Bank, and he was shoveling that up. I had to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Steve.
tell us more about it.
Well, what it was, it really was brought forward by Arlen Mitchell, who lives in Geneva, and Joe Hedrick, I think is his name, who lives in Geneva. And I think Joe Hedrick lives on Rainbow Lake. They did some testing, and IDEM approves of water quality in parts per million. If it's 235 or less parts per million, that's acceptable. Okay. Rainbow Lake came in at 9,200 parts per million. So it's getting their attention. They're worried about the quality of their water. Yeah, I think so.
Like Salina.
Yeah. Well, Salina was more because of agricultural
Runoff.
farming runoff, pesticides and things.
So
Well, I remember when we first started the stormwater department here, and Joan telling us that how bad the runoff from the horse manure into the city sewer.
Mhm.
It's
And we don't get a lot of complaints. If you remember, about 4 or 5 years ago, we had some issues. Somebody brought it up, and it was the Amish were coming through Homestead Addition
Down Bowman.
onto Bowman, over to Winchester, and then out to
stores.
Kroger's and Walmart. That's basically, and if I lived on Bowman Street, I wouldn't like it either. I really wouldn't, because you run over it, you track it, you pull it in your garage, you got it on your tires, it stinks. But,
You sound like my wife.
well, that's how I feel about it. So, yeah, so...
We don't let our dogs, we have to pick up our dog stuff.
We're supposed to, but most people do not.
We do.
Walk the greenway.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, so
Okay.
everybody seems to be watching what's happening in LaGrange County. If you've been reading the paper, they're kind of Shipshewana and Topeka. They're really going to start addressing this thing. In LaGrange County, 40% of the population is Amish. So everybody's kind of watching that, see what they do. And
But they're progressive Amish.
yeah, and we're going to...
We're not.
The same way. Somebody had a good example last night that said, you know, if we spill 20 gallons of gas on the road and stuff, we catch holy heck. The Amish dumps this manure all over and nobody says a word. It was kind of interesting tonight's paper that Mark
Yeah.
Wynn is going to have some Amish arrested for dumping hog manure directly into the ditch.
Creek.
Wow. So we haven't really policed that before. So what
Mayor
they're
McKean
suggesting,
there?
yeah, Mayor McKean sat right next to me, and I think Doug Baum is the one that finally said that, you know, it's got to be a unified effort. I mean, everybody's got to jump on board, or it's not going to work. It's not going to. So if Decatur doesn't do it, then Bern does it. The Amish should just go get on their horse and drive to Decatur.
I think
Now-
Mayor McKean's stance was, when I talked to him about it, was that it can't just be even Adams County. That we need to
You want to
get
include-
Mercer, and we need to get
Right. If I own Kroger, do I want them going to Portland instead of Decatur?
Really, I don't know. You know, what I guess upsets you more than anything is the Amish, they don't want to even recognize that there is an issue, that there is a problem. You know, that, I think that upsets people, you know. Yeah, I remember one day I was at a Kroger, and I just happened to pull up, and this Amish guy was getting on his buggy. And I says, "Hey, you're going to clean that mess up, aren't you?" He said, "Well, that's not for my horse." Well, hell, it was. So they don't even want to help the situation. So I don't feel sorry for them.
It's becoming gigantic. Because, you know, now Adams County's getting all new regs for agricultural disposal. I don't think anyone understands the enormity of the animal business in this county.
Are you talking about
the crap we got to get rid of?
Yeah, the confined feeding operations are huge.
And we got turkeys, chickens, ducks, cattle, hogs. We got them all. We got them huge. I mean, it's probably multi-million-dollar operation. Now the county's got to address better policing these guys. What are you doing?
Well, that's it. You know, so let's say you pass a ordinance or a law that says your horse has to have a diaper, or it has to. What was the other option? Diaper, or you have to have a bag on the horse. Whatever it is. Who's going to police that? Does it come down to the county police department, the city police department? You
I don't
know?
understand why they can't get a ticket just like I get a ticket out in the car show.
Yeah.
Were any Amish invited to the meeting? Were any of their bishops
Well, that was,
invited?
no, they were not, but that was one of the things. They want to extend that. But a lot of, and Mark Wynn kind of referred to that in his article today, that he was kind of upset that Amish didn't attend the meeting and he wanted to give. Well, their position is ignorance. Well, I didn't know that. Well, if you don't go to the meeting, you won't find out, so they just don't go to the meeting.
Neil Ogg had that position before Mark Wynn for a long time, and he describes Mark as an Amish hater. They all hate him.
Oh, really?
So the fact that none of them are going to his meeting doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't, yeah.
Well, Ryan Knopfler has quite a bit to say about this too, and he had brought this to my attention a while back that there's only so much that they can enforce, and it's the same thing. Where does the state enforce? They enforce where they can from the cities. But if you look at the overall problem, right, there's a lot of, and that's what's happening with Mark Wynn. I mean, he's doing the right thing because, hey, we can enforce all the rules that we want, but if a handful of them are breaking them, that we can't enforce, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about that, but Ryan is the one that brought it up to me as far as the city and what impact, and I don't remember the numbers he gave me, but he talked about parts per million too, about just the stormwater runoff because of parts per million.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe if you have any, you're in charge of stormwater.
We already live under those rules under our NPDES permit for stormwater, so animal waste, dog parks, all those things are items that we report, both concentrations, density for where flow.
Do you test our waterways? Do you test our creeks and river?
Thankfully, we're not required to do sampling and testing yet, but believe me, there's legislation out there wanting to do that. So we do what are called best management practices, and we report on the training and education, reporting, plan review, but sooner or later they're going to make us do it. The reason they haven't is because of the agricultural issue. If I were to release clean water from all of our storm inlets and we were to regulate to that point, it wouldn't matter because the agricultural areas are 80% of the land use and are 90% of the problem.
We said that 20 years ago, Nate. We tried to say that. So we can get every drop of dirt out of going to the river in Decatur, and you go 2 miles outside and you get a 2-inch rain. It's all, we didn't say anything. The river's still dirty. But they can regulate municipalities. They can't regulate farmers.
They struggle regulating the farm areas because the Farm Bureau and the rest of the lobbies are very strong and have resisted
That's wrong.
the same regulations that the cities are forced to accept. So it's a delicate part, and I do what I can.
So we do not do any testing at all on, like, Borm's Run or
we have to
some of the other...
visual monitoring and inspection. If there's complaints, and there's a complaint process that I have to report. If it's substantiated, then I can do sampling, and then we can pursue fines. I mean, those tools are in our ordinance.
If they can find out the parts per million in Geneva Lake, can we find out
Sure.
the parts per million here?
Sure.
It comes down to me spending stormwater money to find the problem. So if there's complaints, then
I think Ryan has that stuff.
Ryan's already done it from soil.
Well, I know when, before the Knights of Columbus was hooked into our sewer, we took some testing.
And Joan
It
was
was
thrilled to
horrible.
tell
It
us
was
on
horrible. How much
improved it
was going into there. And it wasn't just the Knights of Columbus, it was houses and stuff around there. Ran a sewer out there, hooked all these people up, and within 2 years, you actually seen frogs and minnows and stuff actually back in there doing it. So it does work if you monitor. But I don't know who does that monitoring.
Well, it becomes part of what our permit. When our permit or the stormwater department was created, there was a bio-monitoring firm that was hired, essentially creating a baseline characterization. Essentially, this is what you currently have, and these are where your risks are. And then we created a plan on what we could implement to make that better. The goal has been to try to keep the expense and overhead costs of the stormwater department low, so we weren't spending money to monitoring things the state didn't make us monitor.
Does IDEM come in and monitor anything?
They do not. What they'll end up doing is they'll react to a complaint or a violation, and then we'll work in concert with them to deal with a dump, essentially like what you had there in Geneva. So if someone's dumping hog manure, they'll come in, or I may even bring them in and say, okay, we have an enforcement action that's going on. I need IDEM support in pursuing this. And then we would work together and finding them whether it's really through our ordinance or the state pursuing it.
Does Terry Smith to the health department?
The health department has done this, so if we find something that's questionable, say we found something over there on West Monroe Street that indicated where we found some homes that were connected to a storm sewer, we found them, identified it, and we're working on a plan to get those homes hooked up. So we're trying to work with making fixes without kicking people out of their houses.
Well, anyhow,
it's a complicated issue.
Yeah, it is.
Part of what we
But I
work
think
with.
we need to stay on top of it.
Step by step, and yes, I mean, we can do monitoring, but that costs money, unfortunately. So I don't want to spend a lot of money monitoring unless
maybe
we've
you
got
could,
key locations.
could you get us a price on how much testing that would do? I wouldn't do a whole lot, but like out the cemetery, do one out by...
Some of the tests we could do ourselves is just grab samples. We've got equipment to do those.
Yeah.
It's been, what do we want to do with the data? And in some cases, once you find it out, you're obligated to do something about it. And so those become the, you don't know what you don't know. So if we start doing samples and start pulling that data in,
I really do think we should do some testing, though. Like the main ditch going through the golf course, for example, and up by Woodcrest. If we could sample those, that can't be that much expensive.
Like Cam said, has Ryan already done it?
Yeah.
Some of them would have from other watersheds, and we've
collaborate.
talked with the St. Mary's Watershed Alliance, that group, or Tri-State River Alliance. We've talked to those groups about working jointly, collaboratively on some sampling and testing. Some of those didn't go very far because they were looking for grant money to pay for the tests. Some of them we can do internally with the wastewater plant, because many of those are looking for...
Well, could you work with Terry Smith over at the health department?
Can do that.
He's got
We're looking for E.
the
coli.
equipment. He's testing anyhow. Maybe just
Some of those we pay to have tests done out up at Sherry Labs. Some of them we could do internally. So
But you can't be as refined as say this came from a horse, right?
that is called DNA type sourcing. So if you get E. coli, you can type source it, and you can pay for those labs. We couldn't do it, but I can find firms that would do that. And so you could say,
well, and that's what kind of...
this E. coli...
Well, that was brought up last night. There's 9,200 parts per million in Rainbow Lake. Well, is that all horse manure? Is it some farm runoff from pesticides? Who is it? I don't know.
Tanks out there still?
What's that?
Do they have septic tanks?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, they probably do. They probably do. Yeah.
That'd be a big source.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's,
But you can break it down. I'm sure it's expensive.
They're doing it because part of it's defense from different municipalities, because when you said E. coli before, it was just assumed it was human E. coli. And when you start saying we're going to DNA type source it, IDEM gets concerned, because then it starts bringing in the ag lobbies, not just the municipal.
I just think if we're going to use water quality as the argument for why the Amish need to have bags, then we better have the data to back it up.
Back that up.
Otherwise, we just need to call it what it is and say we don't like it.
Yeah.
But you know, be a devil advocate here. Those little things are not what you call highly accurate. So we got Mr. Amishman coming down along, and he's got 7/8 of his load in the bucket and 1/8's on the ground.
Yeah.
He ain't looking behind him to see where that's going.
Right.
What do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, Because I've seen them where they've got them, and you're following them and thinking, hey, bud, you're missing.
Some control will be better than none.
What
Right,
if you go
And that's kind of what they said last night, Cam, same thing.
Correct.
75% is better than none.
But I'm looking at it from the policeman's point of view, you know, what's his expectation?
Well, I just wanted to bring it up to let you know that there's countywide out there that's looking at this, and so it may be coming up in the near future, so. Thanks, Nate, but I do think maybe you can get with Terry Smith at the health department to see if he can do a couple tests. You know, every 6 months, do a few tests.
We can break the watersheds. It's been something that's been on our radar as far as, I just don't want to create a permit requirement for us that we have to do forever and incorporate it. If it's
Well,
something
we just
wanna
don't have
do,
to tell IDEM about this. We're just doing it for our own use.
That's fine. Okay. Well, I can...
Check with Terry and maybe Ryan Nodlet over at Salt Water.
I'll schedule something with them here late this year, and we'll kind of come up with a plan of action and lay out what we'd like to do or could do.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Salaries we've talked about. Melissa, we can't have your public hearing until 7.
We're waiting on the public. More.
See, my guess is we'll have the same public hearing at 7 as we do
I don't know,
now.
maybe Cam can help out in this item. We've been, we're getting appraisals on First Street properties. We are in the midst of getting, we should have them hopefully by the end of this week.
Is Mark Beaumont's part of that?
Yes. Beaumont's, Rice's, Beaumont's, Corey Apple's.
Mark bought the FOP lot on 13th.
Yeah, right. And, Ortiz's, and Loshie's even allowed me to get
Which one's Loshi?
Loshi is the old Decatur Auto Parts store.
Okay.
I met with them.
And when you
last
say
week.
Rice's, are you talking about the rental on the corner, the brick house?
No, that's not Rice's. Somebody in California owns that now.
And we're not even looking...
Well, I think Larry Ish was going to look at that, but it's not one that we need to have right away.
Right away,
We can
yeah.
get that next year even. And also for Roats. Roats is between the brick house and Rice's.
Yvonne.
Buildings.
Yvonne.
Yeah, what's her name? Not Yvonne.
Johanna.
Johanna, right.
So
Alteration shop.
So you should be able to cut across our parking lot, go behind Mark's house.
Well, the idea now, Cam, is, Nate, we need you again, is maybe to bring the interceptor sewer just up out of the river, to stay along the river, close to the river. Well, that's money.
Yes, it is.
Front and back door, all that good stuff.
I'll call you back. Excuse me. Yeah, how do you put this thing on silent? There we go. Anyhow, so the interceptor, so we're thinking about just bringing it up and keeping it along the river. You get the Macklin's building, and then we bore under Macklin's property with the new sewer. That makes sense, Nate?
Under or around part of the Macklin's building, if that's possible. It just depends on where we are with the money as we get our construction estimates together, as we move forward in the design. I think the goal was to look at Mark's Heating and Air building, Rice, Ortiz. Those three were key to try to keep this at the top of the bank versus at the toe of the river bank in that area, and then we could go across what is essentially city property until we get to the portion where we're working out a purchase agreement with Joe Stanley across the rear of his property. Around
So it would leave the Macklin building.
Essentially, try to leave the Macklin building alone. We would start just north of
unwilling
there or
to sell.
go
Well, I will tell unwilling, but I was wanting to meet with Steve today, and he got busy and couldn't meet, so
Yeah.
he called me at 5:30, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't have time now. So hopefully he's going to call me tomorrow, I can show him what we'd like to do.
It would come down to a financial decision once we get to Macklin building going south, but, I mean, that's essentially what we're looking at, is trying to acquire those properties. If we can acquire those properties, tear the buildings down that we can, then we could use essentially the excavated soils for backfill other than around the pipe. It would save us quite a bit of cost based on pavement reconstruction, removal, existing sewer removal and reconstruction, bypass pumping. We met with the other public utilities that are in our right-of-way, and AEP said, well, we can't service those buildings if you try to go down First Street, so we'd have to do something else. NIPSCO was arguing that they have utilities in the way. We've got CenturyLink and Community Fiber Solutions that are in the way. So we'd be burdening many other utilities with our project to the point where it might be prohibitive for all of them as well as our own water department.
So I understand north of Macklin, to get to Macklin, where west or east side are we boring under?
They would try to bore along the back side of the building. There's really not much room to the street side, so we try to go on the east side, the river side, along the back, if we were to bore underneath that at all, or something else that may be negotiated with them moving forward.
When you say river, don't use the word riverside. I think of
The east
riverside.
side. Yeah, I know. It's the east side of the Macklin, building.
Okay, then so south of the Macklin building, now what?
And then we would try to pull farther away from the bank of the river so we could open cut
And
again.
that would
If that was,
require property.
we'd be trying to acquire property.
That's my question.
And it
That's
doesn't
what
mean
I'm
that we
getting at.
wouldn't-
It's not so much Nate's
Yeah.
construction process. It's how do we acquire those properties and demo them? Where does the money come from for that?
Well,
Some of it can come from the sewer project.
Acquisition fund.
I guess my other question is, can the remainder come from our capital campaign? I'm not sure where the money comes from to buy these.
Well, it would've been-
We're getting appraisals, but
500,000 that, over 5 years, but 500,000 that was allocated for this year
right.
from the city
Mhm.
would go towards that.
Okay.
Because of that, I realize I'm not speaking in years, but it might be next year that this happens, but I guess I'd have to go back and look at the specific thing that Chrissy just put together.
She's gonna be here tonight, so maybe she
I think
can even
that
answer
changes,
that.
But
Yeah.
then when you look at the money that we could put forward, I mean, that's the priorities for those properties and then Schaefer Building, which that's not gonna happen this year, but
Yeah.
I think we were prepared from that pool to use that money towards
Okay.
those property
And
acquisitions.
and that's what I wanted to make, why go contact these people after we get the appraisals if we don't have the money in place to buy it, so.
Well, is Nate's project that's going, the reason we're tearing these houses down is because it's cheaper to go through the houses, correct?
Right, exactly. It's cheaper to do it out there than this First Street.
Did we already have money allocated to go through First Street or not?
We did.
There is money within the bond, and the sewer bond could pay for the acquisition and demolition. It just comes down to which properties does the sewer, how far do I take the project, how many properties do we acquire? I know
No.
if we start going further south, which properties are not part of it, because honestly, when you're acquiring a whole property, the sewer utility really only needs a third of it. So,
Did you sell 1/3 of your property? What are you gonna do with the other 2/3,
I'm not buying all of Joe Stanley's property, so but it comes down
That's a little
to
bit different there.
So I understand. So I'm trying to protect the
Now-
bond amount because
Well,
that's.
and you want to move forward fairly quickly
Correct.
on construction, and buying these properties, and you can't just go buy them and then tear them down. There's probably some
There's a couple steps that
environmental
we have to go through.
issues that we have to go through.
Not quite the same as we did with the other projects that we did, but yes, we're going to have to do some investigation into it. And
So that
it's
could
not quite
delay
like with an Ochre
that
grant.
could
This isn't
delay
an
us for
Ochre
2 or
grant.
3 months.
Potentially, but the hope is the sooner we can acquire it, the sooner we can get that process started. I think we had, talking to Jeremy, some of these buildings are fairly simple stick frame construction, so it wouldn't be problematic for us to use our equipment to bring them down since they're wholesale demolition. Unlike when we're doing the sweeper shop, it's tied to Becky Cochran's building, so we had to do a detailed analysis and process as far as demolition and then how we were going to
But we'll
stabilize
still
it.
have to go, each property will have to have an environmental assessment, right?
Yeah, 1 and 2 have been done.
Yeah.
Those properties on
Yeah, and I think Rice's has been done. Maybe not.
I
Maybe
can
not.
look into
That
that, but-
came in late, I think, so.
But, I mean, within the overall budget was for that, not to use campaign dollars, but to allocate it from the city.
From the city's allocation of so much per year over 5
If
years.
there's a way to, can we acquire them with those dollars and tear them down?
With sewer dollars.
And I understand what you're saying, like, so let's protect the bond for stormwater sewer projects, because there's so much need for that. That's already been if we have the ability to do it with the funds that we set aside, then maybe that's what we prioritize.
Did we put that in the bond
The,
of what, how much for?
we have an approximate number within the bond, but those dollar amounts aren't fixed. So we establish essentially an approximate, but the intent is that by acquiring these properties, other line items are going to drop in value. So we're essentially moving one from one description to the next.
But probably the more expensive ones are going to be on the north side of the Macklin building.
Most likely.
I agree.
And so, if we had the ability to move forward on the ones on the south side, because I think, we have appraisals on all those, right?
It's my understanding that we have all the appraisals for, well,
No, we don't. We have Corey Apple, and I think we have one on
you have the one that you want, and then
Macklin's duplex.
duplex.
I think we do have
Those two, the
appraisal.
duplex and the Apple, we do.
And I'm getting one on Losis now.
So,
I guess when we get the appraisal, we need to sit down and say, okay, here's how much it is, and maybe Fleming could give us an idea what it's going to cost to tear down the bigger buildings, smaller ones, unlike you, maybe we can tear them down ourselves, I don't know.
Well, and we don't need to tear down everything right away. It's just the strategically important buildings. I mean, that's going to be part of what we need to deal with.
Okay, but
So,
I think you answered my
it's not
question.
simple.
I didn't know where the money was going to come from, but it wouldn't surprise me, we're going to have $500,000 in acquisition and demolition.
Oh, between them all potentially, but I mean, I haven't seen all the appraisals either. So that's where, once we got the appraisals, we can put together an estimate to go from there, but unfortunately, I don't have that information.
Do you think you're saving by going through the houses compared to the street?
One early estimate was as much as $500,000. So out of a $4.5 million construction project, that's pretty sizable.
So, is the duplex still on the table?
Well, that's why I wanted to talk to Steve about, and we weren't able to meet today. And so hopefully we're going to meet tomorrow.
Because,
Steve
on the
Mack
other side of that, I think I keep in mind, like, it sounded like they wanted to control the property and tear it down and build a parking lot. Well, heck, let's work with them on that.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm thinking the same
Want to
way.
do that?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But let us put underneath your parking space.
Which you can acquire utility easements essentially for us to put that in, and then
Yeah,
they
and
can
then
put a
just
parking
work
lot
with them,
off
say,
of our
okay, hey,
sewer.
you park there, we don't
Simply
care.
acquire an easement.
Then sell it to us when you keep
That's,
Okay.
those are all, but
And another building, it's
to go
not just
out
the
and-
duplex, then if you keep coming north, they got a little building years ago, it was a paint shop for their auto repairs. Well, they've been out of that, but basically it's the equipment and tool storage place is all it is now. So I would like to maybe negotiate that
I
one
think
too.
that plan makes a lot of sense because it preserves that building, because when we were talking about coming up even the sidewalk and having, I don't think that would go. By tearing down that big building. So if you can bore in the back.
Yeah.
and
But that was in that overall plan with the
Right,
money.
okay. And that's what I wanted to, I knew we could get some of the money from the sewer bond project, and then we get some from there. I think we'll be able to move forward with it. So, as we get the appraisals, I'll try to keep everybody informed of what the costs are. Maybe I should get a hold of Fleming and get an idea, says, hey, how much?
Still,
Just get an idea.
It's $500,000 more if we don't go through these properties. I mean, whatever the properties are, I mean, they are.
And it's out of First Street, because once we tear up First Street, it's a frickin' mess for a year.
it'll be a major disruption for everybody. This is a significant inconvenience or trouble for them, but the city's not trying to steal property from anybody. We're going to pay
Okay.
what they're worth.
Okay.
But if that plan, you'd only, your biggest issue would be on Jefferson and the intersection, right? You'd be cutting off First Street, but you could still get.
You can still get around potentially.
Yeah, even if you had to close that intersection for a couple weeks, that's
Yeah.
better than
We could
closing
probably
off
limit it,
First
and
Street
that's-
for 6 months.
But that's why we need to start properties to the north and work our way south. The more we can get, the better it'll be, so.
Yeah. So we're working on it.
I make a motion to suspend the board of works meeting.
Second. Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute,
You
you can't make a
he
motion.
can't make that motion.
You can't make that motion. Good thing Tim's not here.
How about I make that
You make
motion?
have it. I'll second that motion that we suspend the Board of Works meeting so we can go into a public hearing for Melissa here. So, now we're gonna open up the public hearing. I make a motion to open up the public hearing.
Second.
Okay. So, Melissa, tell us why we're having this public hearing, please.
Good evening, I'm Melissa Norby. I am your grant administrator this evening on a grant where the City of Decatur is the lead applicant and Connected Careers is the partner applicant for a workforce development program grant from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, OCRA. That's the agency that sponsors the Stellar Communities program, so we are familiar with how their programming works. What this program is it provides funds for workforce development and skills training activities. So all of you are familiar with Connected Careers. What they're going to do is work with employers and employees in Adams County, match them with the appropriate resources and training so that they can move up in their job to maybe that next job or that next income level, and then their job will be open for a new hire. So this grant is the maximum amount that we can apply for is $250,000. 8 grants across the state of Indiana will be awarded. The state has $2 million to award for these programs. Local match is 20%, and the timing is right on this grant. As you'll remember, Connected Careers has received financing from every municipality, including Adams County, in support of the program. And to remind you of those amounts, Adams County contributed $35,000, the City of Decatur $25,000, the City of Bern $8,000, the Town of Geneva $4,000, and the Town of Monroe $2,000. And we are able to use that money as our local match for this grant. So again, just so that everybody understands that funding that everyone has already committed will still be committed as instructed, but we will be able to use that as the 20% local match, which is good timing for the program. This grant is due at the end of this week. I will be serving as the grant administrator on this project. We've learned from Okra that this is the first year of the program, so we're learning on how it works. Some of the applications coming in are programs that were created specifically to fit this grant, and once the program is done, it's done. It'll exist no more. Connected Careers is not, that's not the case at all. The group organized and were formed and we're going to operate before. This grant is just kind of a bonus, and they will use this grant funding if awarded as a scholarship for those workers who qualify to go through the training process. We do have some partners on this grant, including Ivy Tech Corporate College that will provide some training, as well as Northeast Indiana Works and Work One. If you'll remember, Work One and Connected Careers are co-locating together at Region 8, and all the resources from technology and classrooms are there, and that's where some of the training will take place. So I would like to pass around a sign-in sheet. It's required as part of our OCA grant application. They want to know that real people were here, and we have to prove that. So if you wouldn't mind signing it, and we'll pass it around over here as well. At this time, this is a public hearing. We'll take any questions, comments for or against this project. Okra always likes to, they read through these public hearing minutes, and they always like to see that there has been some questions and comments submitted as part of the application. If there's any questions or comments, we would entertain those at this time.
You pretty well have the grant ready then, if it's due at the end of this week, is that what you said? And Decatur will be the lead agency in this? I mean,
correct. Decatur is the lead applicant, and the way this grant is set up is the state encourages partnerships. So that's where Connected Careers comes in as a partner applicant with the City of Decatur. The city is the applicant, as you mentioned, but Connected Careers will be tasked with carrying out the activities proposed in the grant, which is the workforce training, connecting those resources to the...
do the other municipalities have to have a public hearing like this?
We do not have to have
since we're the lead
public
agency?
hearing. Every municipality has signed what's called a cooperation agreement, saying that they are aware of this program and what Connected Careers is doing, and signed off on their support. for what we're doing, as well as they've indicated in that cooperative agreement what their local match, what that amount was that they contributed.
Okay.
It's being considered as local match.
Adams County just approved this process, right?
Yes.
Or the grant application?
Yes.
What's the timeline for the awarding of the grant?
Award is on November 17th.
Ooh, that's pretty quick for
And then
Okra.
release of funds would happen, we're anticipating in February or March of 2016. So we could start withdrawing down and receiving funds to start supporting those scholarships for the workers beginning in April. So we would have all of 2016 and through June of 2017 to spend the money.
Well, good.
Each individual is limited to $5,000 of support.
We can request up to $5,000 per beneficiary, and through this grant, Connected Careers has targeted 100 individuals that they would like to serve with this funding.
So like $2,000, and the way that it kind of works nicely when you look at corporate college and how they work with employers to charge, there's, depending on what it is, they can sometimes get some funding through Work One, then the employer is left with the gap, which is about $1,500 to $2,000. So this
Scholarship, yeah.
Or tuition, I guess, could be used to offset that on behalf of the employer, or directly supporting the employers with their employees for training.
So depending on the training, if it's a kind of a lighter training and it costs less money, Connected Careers will have the flexibility to award those scholarships depending on what the cost and the involvement of the class.
Wonderful. If we can get this accomplished, that's a great deal.
That's $200,000, right? Of the 200, what was that?
250, I think.
We can apply for up to $250, and this grant is requesting $220,000.
Oh, okay.
And the remainder of that to be used on marketing and...
Up to 10% of the grant request can be used on things such as marketing and employee supplies, overhead staff sort of thing.
Oh.
And in this case, Connected Careers has targeted that, the rest of that funding to go towards marketing of the program. This being a first-year program, the state will allow, and some of the communities are doing this, to purchase an actual piece of equipment to train employees on. It didn't match, it didn't work for Connected Careers, but those are some of the other projects that will be coming in that will be competitive again.
So there's no decision here tonight? It's just a public hearing to get feedback from anybody that's interested, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much for the
Are there
presentation.
questions or
Any questions from
comments,
anybody?
or-
Clyde's got one.
Yes.
I've got one prior to Cam. I've been in the tool and die business for 43 years. Seen a lot of apprenticeships, people going through apprenticeships. Company pays for their schooling, pays for everything,
You go on.
and the next thing you know, they're going to a higher paying job. How does this work out with this?
Great question. I don't know, we probably can't put stipulations on these dollars. There are programs out there, and there's an organization out of Fort Wayne called Questa that does loan forgiveness, which the concept is that they're going to take a no-interest loan for you to take this. So you're giving me a loan, I'm taking this, doing the course, and every year that loan is forgiven, but I have to commit to staying in the area for 5 years until, if I leave my employment in the next 5 years, then I have to pay that loan myself. So there are programs out there. Whether or not, I doubt that type of stipulation can be put on this.
But we can ask, if we're aware, we can ask Okra a question similar to that, right? Is that?
And Questa works with local foundations to do that, and the foundation actually has similar grants available, or not grants, but scholarships available. And that has been a big point of discussion, because as an employer, you're going to pay for this person to get the training. You want to make sure that they stick around, and there's absolutely ways to do that.
Right now, I'll bet there's not 20% of them stick around. They leave.
Really? They just leave?
they're gone. As soon as they get their schooling done, get that diploma in their hands, they're out of there. Unless you take care of them. But that's the thing. You know.
They get
The employers think that, you know, well, you owe us to stay here, but kids don't think that.
Good point.
There's another dollar in front of them, and that's it.
One of the programs I'll say that has been successful with the manufacturing maintenance program, local employers, Hoosier Pattern did this. They're basically taking current workers, raising their skill level, and promoting them to a different job, right? So there's an incentive to stay because now I get higher pay, and it opens up an entry-level job for another person. But
And they're going to graduate 11 on Tuesday from that program. And Work One has stepped in and paid the $4,000 per student to get those folks to that class. Work One's out of money to do those kind of things, and that's where this grant can step in and it can help assist with the payment on those classes. But I think it's a great question that we'll ask, that can Connect to Careers add a stipulation on the money that you have to stay with the job for so many years? Is that something we can do?
Who runs Work One?
It's a state agency, isn't it?
The Department of
Locally.
Workforce
Locally.
well, there's Northeast Indiana Works, which Kathleen Randolph is the executive.
Who's out here?
I don't know their name.
I do not know the
But
individual.
they're not.
We're
They're
just
not
curious.
This is only.
It's only here where they need to be. Okay.
They also service Weld and Huntington County.
So they're not a Decatur person.
No.
Okay.
It's the Adams County office, and they're not staffed
Okay.
full-time.
Okay, any other questions? Mary, you got a question?
What companies are you working with locally? I guess where are these 100 individuals coming from? Which businesses?
Connect to Careers already has been doing a ton of work, and it's met with companies like Hoosier Pattern, Aqua Blast, Micromatic, and Burn, to kind of feel them out of is what do your workers need, what kind of classes do they need, what kind of training do they have, and what can we do for you. And it'll be the job of Connect to Careers to meet with Adams County businesses on a regular basis to assess what is the need. Do we need soft skills? Do we need welding? And then maybe one company has 2 guys that need welding, and they know it's not enough for our class, but Connect to Careers says, hey, there's 5 or 6 other people over here from these businesses. So Connect to Careers is going to have to really keep a good grasp with knowing what the employers need. And that's how they're going to get to those 100 people and fill those slots.
The other thing that Northeast Indiana Works, a gentleman by the name of Gary Gatman, he's the vice president, I think. They have a lot of data too, that they can identify. And that's why it was attractive for them, because they see the need, but they can't necessarily fit the need because of lack of resources. So how do they have an organization that's in Adams County every day, able to go out and connect the need with the resources. So that's another part of where the data comes. Was there 100 specifically identified? No. But it was a target to say, okay, over the next 18 months, is it reasonable to think that 100 people could be trained in some form? And that's what is driving that number when you look at what's available.
Melissa mentioned that there's 11 graduating next week from, and that's industrial maintenance class out at Belmont High School. There's 11 people. This is the second year for that. I think the first year 9 had graduated.
Graduating class.
So, yeah, so it is working. It's just Connect to Careers is stepping forward to basically connect everything. That's what they're there for. So, any other questions? I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion's carried. Thank you, Melissa.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate your interest.
Make a motion that we reopen the Board of Works meeting.
I'll second that. Thank you. Jeremy, I think you had a quote for water line.
Approximately a month ago, through all the shaking and the banging out on 13th Street, we had several leaks on the side streets coming off 13th Street. A couple of them were fairly small. One of them was pretty major. The line is actually leaking under the railroad tracks on Dayton, at former Decatur casting property. The only way of repairing that is to bore a new line under the railroad. We are not capable of doing that. That would have to be a contracted job. I solicited 3 quotes from Burkott Excavating, Fleming's, and John, you got the quotes there.
Oh, do I got them? I'm sorry. Do you have them, Phyllis? Oh, I don't know if I got them.
It's been a while ago, I can't remember who the first one was from. Actually, you've got the 2.
I don't know if I got them, Jeremy. Yeah.
Anyhow, I solicited 3 quotes. It took 2 quotes to satisfy the purchasing ordinance. Plumbing's come back just barely as the low quote at $20,000. Another quotes is like $21,000, $22,000. They're all 3 right there close. It's something that we need to get hooked back up. Once it blew, we dug it up on both sides and turned it off. So basically you have a dead end coming in on both sides.
And dead ends are not good for water.
It needs to be fixed here before the weather turns.
Okay.
I talked with Dan. Dan has the ample funds
To pay for it?
through the water utility.
Okay. I make a motion, we accept the low quote from Fleming to do it, and they can...
Sorry, I didn't bring the quotes.
I'm sorry. You thought I had them, and I probably have them on my desk somewhere.
Where's the water leak today?
Right behind John's house. They're on Madison.
I didn't know that.
It just happened right now. That's coming here.
So I don't have any water?
You will from the one way.
Well, water comes in from the back. So anyhow, did you second that?
Second
Dan?
motion.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Recourse at all and get paid from the state for...
No, it's just old pipe. Just old pipe and the vibration.
You know, some communities, talking about that real quick, some communities have set X amount of dollars back per year to replace lines. Some of our lines are 100 years old. We've got to start replacing some every
We
year.
have been replacing what we can replace. We're getting ready to start back up on another run on the south end of the city, just a replacement. But we need to continue that annually.
Yeah. Yeah, we neglected it for so many years, and now it's starting to bite us.
Yeah, we have numerous leaks every year. Okay. Another quote was for Fox Contracting at $22,200. Fleming's was $20,000 even.
And when do you anticipate, here within the next month?
Yeah, I told him it needed to be done before we did the patching, which we're go around and do all the utility patching probably in about 3 weeks.
Okay,
So he
good.
should have it done here shortly.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Boiler quotes, I gave those.
Huh?
We approved those from Master.
What's happening?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, you can just have these.
Anything else?
I have nothing. Motion to adjourn.
Second.